Welcome everybody, Don Giannetti, lighting-essentials.com and project52prosystem.com. This is another in my series of what makes this photo great. And again, these are not great photographers known to the world as that, but great photographers known to the world and who inspired me. There's a ton of great photographers out there that I have not had on the show, and there'll probably be some that I missed that really inspired me, or I thought inspired a lot of people. But today we're going to look at one that was not a commercial photographer. She wasn't a fashion photographer. She was a photojournalist, a storyteller, and someone that from the moment I saw her very first pictures, I've just been a huge fan of, and that's Mary Ellen Mark. She was a small, diminutive woman, and yet she was in the heart of so many things, from the Vietnam War protests to the closing of farms to just everything. She was with Magnum, she was with Archive, she started her own agency for photographers, mostly in the photojournalistic world, but what a great photographer. Look at this photograph here. Kid with a cigarette, toy, on the streets, and notice where she took the photograph. Notice the wall. Notice the sidewalk. Notice that it's just this sort of bare area. There's not a lot of stuff going on behind this person. There's not a lot of garbage on the street. There isn't any signs. There's nothing out back there. There's someone walking down the street out of focus, but just this person right here next to the scratched on graffiti and such. And don't you just love that little reflection of light behind her head? Do you see it? How it makes her stand out. Look at a little bit of the light down the side of this person, just the nose and the cheek, the edge of the jacket. It's so subtle and it's so incredible. I love the tonality of her work. Now, this is what I call filmic work. I mean, it is it's film, it's Tri-X, probably Tri-X. Let's look at this next shot here. Another kid with a cigarette, or a very young person anyway, and a toy in the park. Look at the framing. You see that? You see the same kind of framing here? She's in the middle, but yet we really have a feeling that this photograph is over on the left. This is nothing over here. This is everything. A little bit to the side. Here we have the subject over on the side. Look at the tonality. You see the grain? I hope the video can record the grain. It's just absolutely beautiful in this. I love grain. I miss grain. I'm glad to see that some of the softwares are allowing me to put grain back in with more realistic looking grain. It's not noise. It actually looks like grain. Thank goodness. Isn't this just a lovely shot? There's a reaction between the subject and the photographer, and it's just sublime. Mary Ellen Mark just makes these portraits that just ring true. Look at this. Is this just not amazing? Just beautiful. We don't know what's going on here. I'm sure that this photograph was taken within context of something, a celebration, a cultural event somewhere. But the young lady in the little ballerina tutu, and then these two children with these weird hats that look like that look like chickens up on top. Just really pretty amazing. This is the kind of work that just inspired me so much to go out with my camera and look for people doing things. I would spend hours walking around taking pictures of strangers, taking pictures of events happening, all in black and white. At the time I was starting this business, it was a black and white world. I did everything in black and white. Today, if I had to choose between doing color and doing black and white, for the rest of my life, somebody comes along and says, "Hey, Don, you got a choice. You can do color or you can do black and white. You can't do both." I'm choosing black and white. I wouldn't even hesitate. It wouldn't even miss a beat. It's black and white. I just love this. Stark reality taking on a Hasselblad. Can you see? The telltale Hasselblad notches. Yes, sir. Big deal. It's taking on a Hasselblad. But the square format just looks so good right here. Look at the photograph. Look at the emotion in the photograph. Look at the gentleman's eye. Look at that. Just amazing. Just brings you in. And look at the white wall, the white shirt, the white hand and Band-Aid. And look at the oblong with a point dark area right in the middle, which is the subject. How he just stands out from the background. You feel the depth and you feel the engagement instantly. Dead center, so is she. Dead center. Look at this young lady wearing a very formal hat and blowing a bubble. And this is one of those, look at the grain back here, one of those shots, probably 135 millimeter lens or 105 millimeter lens up close or something in that range, shot wide open so that we have this very shallow depth of field. She's in the shade. You can see the reflection from the overcast sky above her. And it's just beautiful. Why is the background blown out or out of focus or whatever you want to call it? It's because it's probably busy back here. And the busyness of the hat and the busyness of the hair coming down over the shoulders, why risk ruining the shot by our eyes drifting off her face and back in the back to see some sort of detail? So you crush the detail down with point of view. Beautifully done. Love this shot. Love this shot. T-Max 3200 or Tri-X pushed the hell out of it. Very printed, very high contrasty, and it's so engaging. You see the hands locking here. We don't know who this hand belongs to. We don't care, but look at the intensity in the eyes. One of the things that Mary Ellen Mark does is gets us right into the picture. By cropping off the young people down at the knees, we're right into the picture. We're right up next to this gentleman. We're right in front of her. She's not across the way. She's not standing on a corner somewhere and shooting her with a 300 millimeter lens. She's right up there, right in front of her. Look at this. We're into this moment. Whatever this moment is here is happening. And Mary Ellen Mark has brought us right into it. Kind of playful, always having fun, showing us people and kids doing funny things and crazy things was part of what she did. And I think it's just delightful, but isn't that cute? Well, I don't know if that's a stuffed animal or a real dog down there. So it's being stepped on by the foot. Let's hope it's a stuffed animal. Beautiful photograph. Look at this again. And notice the road coming down. You see that? That's a theme in many of her images. The road coming from one way down. We saw it in the first image on the sidewalk. We saw it a little bit in another image that's up here. Where is that? Right here. We saw it here, this road coming down from the back. Using the road, is there a metaphor here? I don't know. I know that I use roads for many of the same reasons. I love them. I love to shoot with a road in the background, especially out of focus like this. I think the road is sort of metaphorically interesting. I think there's an allegory to having the road in it, but it's really, really fascinating. Beautiful photograph, and don't you love that little bit of light? Whoa, man, that's so cool. Look at the hair flopped over the back. Isn't that great? Just the head, again, dead center, and then surrounded by sort of out of focus tile and the suds and everything. We just get this sort of floating head. It's really, really cool. Young child, and again, notice the road. We have the road coming right down behind him. There's something about the road that fascinates us and her. Something about that road. Again, it's maybe allegorical, but missing a shoe, kind of just leaning on the chair, staring up. We don't know what's going on here. We can tell our own story with this photograph. I'm sure when Mark photographed it that there was a story or some context involved because she was a photojournalist. So there was a reason that she took most of the shots that she did. Some of the times she took, just like the rest of us, she just took the photograph because it's just really cool. You know, if you're not making photographs because they're just really cool, that's sad. I mean, there's photographs everywhere in front of you right now. Wherever you are, there's a photograph right in front of you. You just can't see it because you're not in photograph mode. She was in photograph mode all the time. It's hard to do, but it's a great place to be. A couple of young people here, and again the road. Again the road here. The out of focus campers, etc. Right in here. Notice the little highlight there in the eye. See that? Mark would use a little flash on her camera, right on mounted to the camera. No, she wasn't bringing in soft boxes and umbrellas and things. She put a little flash on the camera and get a little twinkle of fill. Look at the vehicles back here, kind of dark gray here. It's a very overcast day. She wanted to pop their faces. You see the shadows here? Pop the faces a little bit. She was doing it before the fad of it. This was back when there were no fads in this type of work. You did what you had to do, and you did what really worked out well, and this really does work out well. If you've never used your flash on camera because you were a member of some Flickr group 20 years ago, grow up. They're really cool. You can do so many things with flash on camera. Always could. Catch him in the brightest area, so it becomes a silhouette. Isn't that great? It's a little bit of light right up there on the top of the megaphone, a little bit of flare. His body language is almost like a dancer. I don't know what he's doing. You don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. And he's shouting through his megaphone. It ends up being just a delightful photograph. And again, this is Mary Ellen Mark. She is always, always, always in photo mode. Try walking around with your little camera, little point and shoot. And by the way, I'm having a blast with little old, cheap, 15-year-old cameras now. I'm just loving the hell out of them. It's almost as fun as being back in the film days and having different formats. Just went out on a little shoot and took my new to me little Fuji waterproof camera, 12 megapixels, shoots JPEG only. And it shoots just a beautiful, cool, delightful, interesting little image. Does it look like my Nikon? No, but that's the point, isn't it? It's the point. That's the point of format. It's the point of different films. It's the point of making something artistic. If you've got one of those little cameras in a drawer, you may have a gold mine. Just look at it differently. Just look at it differently. Look at this. Family in the car. She's got them right up here. You can see the little telltale sign of the speed light on top of the camera right here. Just to open them up a little bit. You can see the shadow here. You can see a little bit of the shadow under here. Just right under here. Just a little bit of light. Just popping in a little light. See the highlight there? Not a fill card, not a white card, not a bounce board or anything like that. Just a little flash winking in to kind of open up the shot. Absolutely stunning. Just a beautiful photograph. And think of the work that this took back in the day. Your Nikons, let's see, the Nikon F had a flash sync of a 60th of a second. The F3 moved us all the way up. Now get ready for this. Sit down. You got to be ready. The F3, one of my favorite cameras of all time, one of the all-time best cameras, had a flash sync of 1/80th of a second. If you're outside with Tri-X in Phoenix, Arizona, you're probably going to have a problem. Lots and lots of technique. I think this is an actor. Might be Dennis Hopper. I don't do actors. I couldn't care less. But anyway, I believe it is. Taken on a film set. She did a lot of work for film companies. She was a set photographer. Some big movies that she did. She did Alice's Restaurant, Nicholas. She did Catch 22. She was at Apocalypse Now. She was the set photographer for Apocalypse Now. A lot of different movies that she was the photographer for. And one of the things that she would do is, of course, she would do the set photography. That's a job. It's a specific job. But then she would then wander through the sets and make photographs of the making of the movie and some of the people behind the scenes. Might be Marlon Brando. I don't know. Nicolas Cage? Ashton Kutcher? No, probably not. Well, this is Mary Ellen Mark. I hope you really enjoyed her work. I am a lifelong faithful fan. Mary Ellen left us in 2015, but we have her work. Oh, did I miss this photograph? I may have. Look at this. Oh, look at this. The junk back here, the angst on this child's face is just amazing. It's really, really fun. What is she really doing? I don't know. Maybe Mary Ellen said, grab your head, and she grabbed her head, and that's the shot. But look at the juxtaposition of the old car, the junk, and this young girl in a white, what looks like a wedding dress or a flower girl's dress or something with the white gloves. Very, very interesting. Mary Ellen Mark, you can look her up. She has many books. I'll link to some of the books down in the description. And I'll put the book that I think you should get if you're going to get one of Mary Ellen's, get that one. I hope you enjoyed it. And I just found out, by the way, by YouTube, that if you subscribe, it helps my algorithm. I rarely ask people to subscribe. I think it's, if you want to subscribe, do it. I don't want to tell you to. It does help the algorithm. I don't care if you put the bell up there. I don't want to annoy you. You can come to my channel anytime you want. I don't want to annoy you. But if you do hit subscribe or the like button, both of those things helps my channel grow. And I appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of your day, rest of your week. Get out there with those cameras and make some photographs. See you next time.